Well, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good to be in your companies once again. This is Phenomenal Leadership. And I'm your friend, Bishop-elect Edlin Scott, with this powerful broadcast. And so I'm excited, as always, to come into your homes with this leadership teaching called Phenomenal Leadership. We're seeing on two platforms. We're on Facebook, the Voice of Deliverance Organization page, my own personal Facebook page, Edlin Scott, and then over at my YouTube channel, Edlin Scott's YouTube channel. So I want you to go ahead and like and share as you come on in on the broadcast. Challenge you. Tonight we got something really good for you. Got some good material, some good information. Not just information to bring knowledge to you, but information that will lead to transformation. So hang in there with me. Give me about 30 minutes of your time, and then we're going to be in and out of your way. What are we going to be talking about tonight? Tonight on the broadcast, this is going to be the first of a two-part series. We're talking about managers versus leaders. Managers versus leaders. And so in part one, we're going to be talking about what makes a good manager. What are the essential skills in making a good manager? And then in part two, if God Spare Life on Thursday, we're going to be talking about what are the essential skills of a good leader. All right. Now, a lot of people think that they both are the same. Managers and leaders are the same, but they're a little different. And so hang in there with me tonight, and then we're going to go through it together so you can have an idea and you can better be able to identify whether you are being led by a manager or you're being led by a leader. I'm really excited, really appreciate God for all that He is doing, all that He's continuing to do. God is my refuge and strength. He is my very present help in the times of trouble. So I want to say a big shout out to all those of you that are watching me tonight, those of you that are joining the broadcast, wherever you're watching from tonight. It is just good to have you. I want you to, as you come on in on the broadcast, like and share. Send it out to as many of your friends as you can, because everybody is entitled to good leadership. Everybody is entitled to good leadership. And I believe that everybody expects good leadership. Now, whether they get good leadership or not, that's a totally different question. But they are entitled to it. Good evening to you, Georgia. Good to have you joining us here on the broadcast. Good to be in your company as always. As iron sharpen iron. As I share with you, you share back with me, and iron is sharpening iron. Well, I'm headed to India. The month of November, God Spare Life, I'm headed to India. Pastor, you always talking about this. I'm excited. I'm just excited. I'm excited about it because I've been praying about it, Georgia May, for a long time. And I've been praying about it for 2 years before the door actually opened. God made the door to open. And so I'm thankful to God that He opened the door for us to go into Visakhapatnam, India. We're going to be doing a moving around crusade. It's going to be going from place to place. And as many doors that will open up to us, we're going to go in those doors. And then I'm planning a one-day seminar on the 18th of November where I'm targeting 200 pastors. To be in that one-day seminar. We want to help them as much as we can with information, material, so that they can better lead. Because everybody, whether they're in India, Bahamas, Jamaica, the U.S., wherever they are, if they live in your house, they are entitled to good leadership. And so we're really looking forward to that. After that session, we're going to have a luncheon where we're going to feed everybody. And then on the Sunday, after the Sunday morning service, we want to feed everybody again. And so this is some things that are in our spirit, heavily upon us, that we want to make it happen. Good evening to you, morning. Good to have you in our companies. All right. And so we're looking forward to it. This is still the year of increase. And I thought about it over the weekend. I said, Lord, When this year came in, as God was lining me up for this year, God said to me, 2023, Scott, is the year of increase, the year of enlargement, the year of expansion, the year of growth. And I was looking at it in one area. And then when I saw the doors that are beginning to be open for me, and then I understand about the expansion, then I understood about the enlargement. And can I tell you something, Bonnie? I am really so excited. I'm overwhelmed by what God has done. Let me just bring it a little simpler. I started planting some seeds around the yard, and really it's just really a good feeling. Like I don't know, it's just a good feeling. And so when I come home in the evenings, when I leave in the mornings, I check on my plants. When I come back home in the evening, I look at my plants again, and just seeing them grow, sometimes I'm not even able to see them grow, Monique. But after a while, I can see most definite growth in them. Sometimes I leave in the morning and I didn't see the seeds coming out of the ground. I'm wondering, when are they going to come out of the ground? By the time as I come home in the evening, then I see them start to pop up out of the ground and see them grow. And now I'm starting to eat some stuff out of my yard that I've grown in my yard, and I'm really excited about it. And so it is. Sometimes you may be the very last one to see growth in your life. But those that are planted by God is like being planted by the rivers of living water. Once you are connected with God, you are supposed to grow. Growth is automatic. And so you may be the very last one to see growth in your life, but growth is definitely going on. And I want to convey that across to those of you watching me tonight. You are growing. And so I'm going to encourage you to continue to feed yourself, continue to position yourself to be nourished, and don't position yourself around anybody or anything that's not going to be nourishing, or that is just don't believe in growth. If they don't believe in growth, you don't want to be around them, because 2023 is the year of increase. It's all about growth. All right. I don't intend to be before you long, but I want to tackle part 1 of this series, managers versus leaders. There is a difference. All right. Now, there is a compare and there is a contrast. How leaders differ from managers. Most effective leaders also possess some of the skills that make successful managers. Most successful leaders possess some of the skills that makes up successful managers. And it's vice versa. Some successful managers possess some skills that leaders have. And so that's why sometimes people tend to feel like they are one and the same, just a different title. But there are some very distinct differences. The line is very thin between a manager and a leader, but there is a line. Sarah Finch, she is a leader, a leadership development facilitator. She's a coach. She's a professional speaker. And she sums it up perfectly. She sums the entire thing up perfectly between managers and leaders. And this is the way she put it. People follow leaders because they want to. People follow leaders because they want to. And then Monique, people follow managers because they are told to. And there is a very distinct difference between how you lead volunteers and then how you lead employees. There is trust me, if you've never experienced it, if you've not noticed it, There is a big difference between someone managing Kelly's and then someone trying to pastor a church. There is a big difference because people will show up to the work on at Kelly's because in order to get that paycheck, they got to be there at 9. In order to get that paycheck, they got to stay there until 5. On the other hand, people come to church when they want to, when they feel like, and there seems to be no sense of loyalty or discipline when it comes to leading volunteers over employees, because employees, they do it because they have to or they are told to. On the other hand, if people follow in leadership because they have to, but that's a ragtag bunch. That's a bunch you ain't gonna get 100% from. But the people that are following leadership because they want to, you're gonna get 110% every time from that group of people. So as she says, people follow leadership because they want to, they follow managers because they have to. Their behavior, you'll notice it in their behavior. You'll notice the kind of mindset in the way they behave and in the way that they interact. Good leaders inspire people to follow them. And so it's one thing to inspire people to follow you, but you also have to live up to the examples. You have to live up to it. There's something. It's one thing to inspire someone, and then when they see you, you're not like the people say, talk right and walk left. So you are opposite from the thing. So you got to be very careful. You got to be very careful as a leader. Whatever you say, you got to live up to it. Managers are placed in a position of power on the organizational chart, meaning employees feel the need to listen to them simply because they are over them or they outrank them. And so sometimes you feel like people are listening to you, or as a manager you feel that people are paying attention to you. They are driven by something quite different from that of a person leading volunteer workers. All right. The managers will capture the room's attention because the people will know how to make money or how to continue to receive their salary. A little different when it comes to that of volunteer worker. A manager holds a position of authority and is responsible for accomplishing company goals for a specific team within the company. A manager is constantly thinking about company goals. How do I hit company goals? How do I meet my quota? That's where the head of the manager is. The manager head is always motivated by what the company wants. What is it that the company wants? When you look at a leader, think about this. The Bible says God put in the church fivefold ministry for the perfecting of the saints, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ. A leader is more personally centered in that a leader is concerned or should be concerned about helping you to develop you. A leader is always concerned about how do I help you to become what you're supposed to be. A leader, on the other hand, only requires people to be willing to follow. Now, that's very serious. A leader must require people to be willing to follow. A lot of times people are there, but they're not willing to follow. I was listening to a presentation on Facebook, and I was talking about A gentleman was flying with his friend, and his friend died. There was three people on the plane. One of them died, and the pilot, well, he really didn't die. He just passed out. And so the plane needed to come to the ground. Now, unlike a car, that's a totally different story. And so finally, after they played with the radio long enough and just was saying, help, I need help, someone came on. And the air traffic controller said to them, what is important right now is you can't see me, but you have to listen to my voice. You cannot see me, but you must listen to my voice. And in listening to my voice, you must believe what I say. I can see you because the air traffic controller has a big radar in front of them, and they're able to see each aircraft that's in the area. And if you're on their radio, more than likely they are picking you up on their radar. And so he says, you're not going to see me, but I see you. Listen to my voice. And so it is with leadership. You may not see where we're going, but if you hone in on leadership voice, then it's going to be a blessing for you. All right? Now, traditionally, we're going to talk about, I want to give you 5 skills that good managers must possess. And then on Thursday Gospel Life, I'm going to give you 5 skills that good leaders must possess. Number 1, traditionally, managers are responsible for overseeing the day-to-day operation of their team. Managers are responsible for overseeing the day-to-day operation of their team. All right? So if you are responsible for the day-to-day operation of the team, now you could be over, like if you're in a church environment, you could be over the men, you could be over the women, you could be over the youths, you could be over the ushers, you could be over the Sunday school, and so you're responsible for, managers are responsible for the day-to-day operation of it. One thing managers must be good at, is they must have the ability to organize. Being able to organize simply means you're taking, whether it's 5 or 50 persons with different mindset, and be able to cause them to function in a room without killing one another. But go towards a set goal. Best managers are highly organized people. Best managers are highly organized people. They are able to establish and maintain company process, monitor process, organize priorities, and generally keep the team on track in achieving whatever goal they set to do. So a good manager must be organized. They must be able to, some people are able to flow. And I used to have some people who work for me like that. Certain days it's like they don't want to work. They don't want to do anything. They just they turn off like a switch. They're not functioning. And so a good manager makes sure that everybody is functioning because everyone has an assignment to do. For instance, you know how frustrating it gets if you walk in your house in the dark and you touch the light and you turn the switch on, but the switch don't turn on the light. The switch and the light is not in the same place. But in order for you know how difficult it would be. Every time you need to turn on your light in your house, you got to get a ladder, go up there and screw the bulb and turn on the light. But the switch job is to keep you from climbing the ladder, and it turns on the light. Everyone has a responsibility. So if you're a switch that's not working, then the light is not going to be turned on. So a manager organizes things and makes sure that the process is maintained. It's one thing to take off. But you got to keep up your speed. You have to keep up your speed. So a good manager, make sure you take off, make sure that the speed, they monitor the process, and then a lot of things that is not important, the manager organizes what is important. The manager sets what is priority. If there is no manager, when people come to work, they'll do what they feel like doing. They'll walk in the door and they'll step over the garbage, and then they go to their desk and turn on their computer and check their email. What is important? What is important? When people come in the room, they wouldn't even turn on the light. They would just go to their desk and go check their email. The manager determines the priorities, and the priorities are very important in order to get to whatever the goal is. All right? The second thing that a manager is very good at, they pay attention to details. They pay attention to details. Similarly to the point mentioned above, managers need to tune in with what is happening on the team. A manager must be able to connect with whether there's a chatter in the room, whether the work is either going too fast or going too slow. A manager must be in tune with what's going on in the room. As a parent, you must know when something is wrong in your house. You must know. As a commuter, you must know when something is wrong with your car. It could start, but you must know when there's a funny sound. So, a manager pays attention to details. They tune in to what's happening with the team. Whether that's spotting when things could go potentially over budget, out of control, they are able to tell whether something's going to happen. You know, let's take for instance, all right? Last night was the big game. So, the winning team member is coming back to work. The losing team member is coming back to work. Is the big argument that they're going to have the next morning, is it going to be an argument that is constructive, inspirational, or is it going to lead to a fight? So a manager must be able to look at when you are criticizing the other one, they must know whether that person can take the criticism, whether you're being too hard, or they must feel the room. A manager, you must be able to read the room. You must be able to read what's going on in the room. All right? They must have a keen attention to details that will help. Being able to pay attention to keen details will help manage his or her team to succeed with a few headaches and hurdles, and as little hurdles as possible. A manager must try to minimize the obstacles, the hurdles, and the headaches and the pain. Not be getting to that end result, even if all of y'all die. We go in that way. Minimize them, minimize them, minimize them. Third thing a good manager must have is be able to communicate. I have seen people that are so smart but can't communicate. I have seen some people that know their job very well but can't communicate. They will walk in the room and frustrate everybody in the room by their poor level of communication. A good manager is a communicator. There is no way around communication. Communication is an unavoidable skill. Communication is an unavoidable skill. Someone go ahead and put that in the chat stream for me. Put that in the chat stream for me. Communication is an unavoidable skill. If you're going to be a manager, you must be able to communicate. There's no other way around it. It is unavoidable. Now, the downside to poor communication is, boy, you're going to cause plenty trouble. Another downside to poor communication is there's not going to be enough information placed out there for people to work effectively. So, bad communication, it's a real problem. All right? Now, a lot of times people feel like communication is, I just sending it out to you. But a very strong part of communication is being able to listen to people, being able to receive feedback. Communication is not like how some churches, you go to church and the pastor say, I don't care if y'all don't say amen. I'm just going to preach. No, communication is really all about me sharing and you giving me feedback. They must be able to provide the necessary feedback, clear up confusion, offer direction, collaborate with others in the group or in the company, and even resolve conflicts. Communication is an absolute key. Communication is the gas of the team. Without communication, you can have a good team, but they ain't gonna go forward. You must be able, through communication, to resolve conflicts. You must be able to offer directions. Because what does people want to know from someone who's in charge? What to do next. So you must be able to offer direction. You must be able, because nobody knows everything. And so you must be able to collaborate. If you can't communicate, you ain't gonna talk to nobody. The better communicator a manager is, the easier the time he or she will have overseeing and steering the direction of the team. The better the communicator you are, the better this drive is going to be. The better this journey is going to be. Notice what happens when you sit on a plane. The first thing they do is tell you where you're going. The second thing they tell you is how long it's going to take. Then the third thing they tell you is how to prepare yourself for where you want to go. That's how they walk you through the whole process. You sit on the plane and you don't know where you're going. You don't know how long it could take. You don't know what time they're leaving. No, communication is important. The fourth thing, and I got one more after this fourth one. The fourth thing a good manager has, the fourth essential skill a good manager has is time management. Time management. Now, everybody has a certain amount of time. Everybody has a certain amount of time. When you consider the manager are responsible for the day-to-day forward movement of the department, it becomes obvious that they need to be exceptionally skilled at time management. You've got to maximize. We have 24 hours in a day, but you may not have 24 hours for the project. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I've known them for about 25, 30 years, at least 25 years or so. And 25 years ago, they had some dreams in them. And those dreams are still in them, and they've done nothing about those dreams. There are some things that must be done on Monday that can't be done on Tuesday. There's some stuff that you got to do at Christmas that look funny if you do it at Easter. If you want to see something right now, if you go outside of your house, put the Christmas light up, put a Christmas tree on your porch, light it up, drape the yard like Christmas, everybody gonna pass your house and think something going wrong with your head. Take that same thing in the month of December and everyone think it's cool. A manager must be able to manage the time. Got to be able to manage the time. They need to be able to get things done and set appropriate priorities for the team. Organizations are built on the backs of great managers. Managers get things done. And a lot of things is, if you get, let's just say, if you're planning your Christmas program and you don't get it ready until Easter, you fail. You got to get it done ahead of time. Managers manage the time and help things get done ahead of time. And here's the most important thing. Managers are responsible for getting more done with less. Oh, I love a manager. If their budget is $100 and they bring me back 20. Oh, I love them. If their budget is $100 and they bring me back 50. I will absolutely adore them if their budget is $100 and they bring me back 80. Yeah, you're in charge. You're in charge. They give you the whole thing. You're in charge. And so managers got to be really good at time management. All right? Great managers can absorb tremendous amount of work, navigate changes in the schedule, and work in the environment and still hit their goal. Great managers are able to do that. Now the final thing as we wrap up tonight, the final thing. Listen, I want y'all to go back into this teaching. And sit down with your family. I believe that leaders are not just leaders over people, but you got to be a leader over yourself first. And that's the hardest one to lead is you. The final skill that all managers must have, got to be able to delegate. You got to be able to delegate. While managers need to be able to get things accomplished on their own, they should also be able to effectively assign the work to others. Moses had a blind spot as a leader. Moses' blind spot was he thought he had to do everything. Moses was one of God's greatest leader in the Bible, one of the greatest leaders. But his blind spot was he thought he had to do everything. So, a leader must be able to assign the work to others and then trust them to get it done correctly. Stop sitting on people micromanaging. If you got to be there over me telling me everything the whole time, then do it yourself. Because what you're doing is wasting two people's time. You're wasting two people's time. One of us could be doing something else. If you got to be right there, put my hand and do the whole thing. You got to be able to trust people. Managers are great at trusting people. Because if you spend your time in the back office and only you can run the front office, you know what happened there? Time is being wasted. An employee will be quick to tell you that there is nothing worse than a micromanager. So most effective managers know how to successfully and supportively delegate. You got to successfully do it and support the delegation, right? I tell people this all the time. If you're going to blame me for it, if you're going to blame me for the job that I'm doing, I got to be able to make some decision. I got to be able to make them decision. If I can't make no decisions, you can't blame me if things don't go right. So you got to support the delegation. So if you give me a job, you got to give me some power. If you give me an assignment, then you got to give me some power. Let's quickly run back right over quickly the 5 things, the 5 essential skills that every good manager must possess. Because next on Thursday, we're going to be talking about the essentials of a good leader. They're different, a little different from these. Some of them are involved, but they're a little different. So number 1, you must be an organized person. You must be able to organize. You must be able to bring all their minds together and focus them in a direction. You must pay attention to details. You must know when the work is either going too slow, not going at all, or why someone is acting the way they're acting. Communication, can't leave it out. In fact, communication is number 3, so it sits right in the middle. The conversation has to be had through communication. And you cannot ignore communication like it's an elephant in the room. No. You gotta talk about it. Time management, and then delegation. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much for listening tonight. So on Thursday, Gospel Life, we're going to go to part 2 of managers versus leaders. And what are we going to be talking about in part 2? What makes a good leader? What are the essential skills? I'm going to give you 5 of them. 5 of them when we come back on Thursday. What makes a successful leader? Let me tease you. One of the things that makes a successful leader or a good leader is vision. Vision. Where you can see. What are you seeing? Are you seeing here or are you seeing down there? A good leader do not walk looking at their feet. A good leader do not walk looking down at their feet. A good leader sees before others see and see more than others see. Well, you gotta be with me on Thursday if you wanna get part 2 of this. It's gonna be real sweet, but you gotta be with me on Thursday, God's Spell Life. Well, thank you so very much. If the Lord has touched your heart to help us to go to India, reach out to me. There's my email address there on the board, on the screen. Listen, I love you. I really appreciate you because I realize that everybody is entitled to good leadership, and that includes you. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.